to enhance the human-nature connection through meaningful encounters with indoor plants. Indoor plants connection, is it possible? It's weird, right? And we managed. It was like quite a long process. We'll reveal it soon, but that was our aim. Shall we move forward, dear Beth? I say Beth because you may also see her, and she's here our also technical support. But basically, you may see all team of people and more. So those beautiful like faces you see here, smiling or very like focus, are those people that were behind the project. Uh, both from Culture Nest in Germany and Tilia in Croatia. Ivana, then I will give you now a floor. Here you go. The story of
Thank
our.
you, Dagna, for this introduction, and hello to everyone. As Dagna already said, I am Ivana from Croatia, continental part, a little small town, Lepik, in continental part of Croatia, and I'm very proud and happy to have been part of this project and actually for destiny to happen, as Dagna and my co-worker Elizabeta, who you will meet later, they came across on one youth exchange and shared their practices on forest bathing, and this is how actually this idea came to life. So they worked on it and they said, we need an organization who will follow this, and it quickly all just fell into pieces like little jigsaws coming into place to see the bigger picture. We were extremely warmed up for this project, and I will quickly guide you through the phases of the project. When it was applied, it was approved, of course, as this is an innovative idea that I don't think that we have it here in Croatia or in Europe still. So let's quickly go through this process that we had during the project. As we all share this need to work on meaningful things, we wanted this project to have, as we say, a head and a tail. So we shared this project activities into 4 main phases. As you see in front of yourself, the first one was solid ground. In this phase, we prepared, as I would say, a fruitful land on which we will plant all other activities. This was combined of planning, contracting, coordination between the partners. We defined ways on which we will monitor quality, how to create the visual identity, how to work on promotional activities. And we also went to Berlin on our first meeting, where we met in live our partners, and we will share ideas on how we will process how we will go on with the project. The second phase was cross-pollination. Maybe you don't know, but this is a KA2 project of Erasmus+, and this is about, the main point of the project is to transfer mutual knowledge. So Kulturnest transferred its knowledge to us, and Tilia transferred knowledge to Kulturnest. So this is why the members of our organization were in February in Berlin, and we did workshops for Kulturnest and their community of artists in Studio Idea, where the headquarters of Kulturnest are. And also we had opportunity for them to transfer their knowledge to us. Dagna, maybe you would like to chip in?
Yes, of course. And then
What happened? What happened in Berlin?
what happened in Berlin? In Berlin
Yeah.
happened magic of coaching. I mean, how can we use one method of coaching? And then also we were diving into stop motion animation, and also how can we promote the project, and also how can we develop promotion and communication as an organization with wider community. So you brought all this wisdom to us. And then we moved.
And then
Yes,
yeah,
and then
then
we
came a
moved
time
to.
for Kulturnest to come to Lipik.
Yes, we came to
Our
Lipik, being hosted by you. What happened there?
We had first day it was internal for our own community of Kulturnest and Tilia, and then on the second and the third day we went into the community. So we entered to connect art with nature. We engaged our senses. We had linocut stations. We had we had forest walks to try out all of this that we are going to incorporate in creating the final product, which is zins.
Maybe also to underline that this linocut, right, and
Yeah.
neuro design was part of it, and also we were diving into understanding of metaphor. So it was all those two workshops gave us kind of field to move forward, no, with a project, as you said, Ivana.
Yes. The next part was actually crucial. After the cross-pollination, we went into our own communities. So Kulturnest had workshops in their own community of Berlin, and Lipik had workshops for five target groups, which we wanted to incorporate in this process of creating the zine. So we wanted to go from the start and to have a story about the cycle of a plant, to experience this and to try to explore what this is from the seed to the plant and the life of the plant itself. That's why we had five workshops in Lipik for five target groups. The first workshop was a seed, and it was intended for the kindergartens, so little children. And it was a complete sensory experience, which maybe Elizabeth I will explain further because it's connected to the creation of our zins. So the five zines that we created came from these five workshops. This is an exploration of the target groups and how we will create the zines in the final round. After the first workshop of the seed, there came a workshop of root and shoot. This was for elementary school, and they observed through senses everything that the plant needs to come from a seed to come to the root and shoot, and connected what for them is most important for their personal growth. After this, we did a first leaf workshop, which was for high schoolers, and we connected this importance, whether our first leaf, so we can transfer this to ideas, and our ideas, will there be met with the frost or with the warmth? So each participant had a speed date with the plants, and they had the opportunity to dive into their thoughts, to wake up their senses and to observe the plant and to answer on specific tasks that were related to personal development and senses. The fourth workshop was about adulthood, so it was intended for parents. We connected this with growth, with flowering, with bringing fruits. And the last workshop was about flower and seed again. So this was made for elderly people. So we connected all of these target groups from very little children to the elderly. And the elderly was the final round of workshops, and they were really connected to this. And we are very proud that we have had all of these participants actually in our workshops. More over 60 people participated in these five workshops. And parallel to our activities in Lipik, of course, there were activities in Berlin in our Kulturnest. So I will give the word to Dagna what the workshops of growth were.
And as you thank you, and as you notice, in Croatia, there was a process from a seed to the fruit, and
Yeah.
also through the generations, right? So very very interesting dynamics. And then us, we were trying to grasp already mature plants, but different ones. So we were like trying to explore, are different plants having different dynamics? What is in between the relationship and plant? What can it evoke? What it can reveal? So we did five workshops with groups, with different people, led by Beth, Lorena, and Lorena. There were like group workshops, and me, I was also holding the individual sessions. So we had five workshops and around eight individual sessions with the plants. Well, we try to understand what happens there. What is the process? What is a meaningful process that might be later on transmitted to the scenes? Which questions come up? What metaphors are alive? What is the difference with a eel plant, small plant, big plant? How to take care after this relationship. So each workshop was analyzed. There were after each workshop's evaluations, and based on that, you will see the zines that we created. That was in Berlin.
Also, what is important to mention after these workshops, then came a place where we went to the communities and then we went to ourselves. So all of us and the partners, we came into our headquarters and we sat down and we started creating the zines, which are the final output, as Dagna said, of this project. So this is basically creating a bridge between us and the space between a plant. How can we connect this space for people to connect with the plants and to work on themselves? So this was a beautiful and magical process. I have to Elisabetta, which was the main initial for us for Tilia. Elisabetta Petersdorfer was the one who developed the methodology and the initial and final educational and visual concept of our five zins. And also Nevena Moslavac, which is already here on our Zoom, is also a member and of our organizations. She was the one for visual identity and for the graphic of the booklets. So just to say hi to them, and then we will forward on. We will explain all the zins because this is where all the magic is. But the final step of everything was to bring this into the community and to institutions and to share this magical story that happened. This is why we had dissemination days, both in Kulturnest in Berlin and in Tilia in Croatia. Our 2-day event was made of first day that we wanted to connect with institutions. I'm lucky because I worked 10 years with the institutions and everyone, so I could connect everyone and to show them what this really is about. So we wanted to share with them this magic that we can bring this into the institutions, into organizations. This can work in schools, in elementary schools. Really, it's a broad way where this can be incorporated. And I have to say the highlight of it all, of the first day and the second day of the dissemination, was when the all pieces finally came together, when they realized what this is all about. So we collected all of the institutions in Lipik and they were all in awe. They were like, what is this? This is something we haven't seen before and we want this in our institutions. We will have time later to discuss this about institutions who wants to chip in, but now it's time to share the second day. The second day was for the community and the participants who participated in our workshops. And they had the opportunity to once more experience working with plants and also to acknowledge what they were part of. Because let's be clear, without participants, without people who tried this, who tested this I don't think it would be possible. They were basically also heart of this story that we want to bring now to the public.
Also, I would like to jump in a little bit step before that creation of zines was a creative common process. So we created the educational concept as a consortium. Each zines were shared in our teams and we were feedbacking each other as well. So I just wanted to say how mutual work it was. And also you can see linocuts that our aim was also to be as much manual as possible, also to connect this energy of creation with the energy of connection with plants, which was for us very meaningful. As well, all things are translated to 3 languages. So each tool that you will get and you will print is in English, German, and Croatian. And you can imagine that behind that there are many translators, those that were supporting us to make this text, this little text that we put into our zines, accessible to everyone, right? Because those zines would go to hospitals, to senior houses, to migrant houses, to individual homes, to schools, to wherever it's possible, wherever there are indoor plants. So we really try to make it as accessible as possible. And dissemination in Germany, we work on the Kunstmarkt in Berlin where we wanted to attract everyone. We also show our linocuts there. So we wanted to embrace this also organic freedom and connection through that, as well as we had like 4 days, I guess, open studio meetings with everyone who was interested in zines to explore it already in our quarter in Lichtenberg. So that was quite massive, still is. And we sent also individual zines to institutions because current institutions are difficult to bring to our meeting. So we send the zines there. So this is where we are with a dissemination. I guess we can keep going and showing you zines, that you can upload on our website in these 3 languages. And the first zine that you see, and the pink one, it's the story about everything. So there's educational concept. This is the zine that you can bring or introduce to the institution. If you are maybe also the person working in the institution, this one would be the material to bring to the hands and say, hey, this will describe you, with a little invitation of Monstera. Then another one would be about the geranium. Beth, would you like to say what's about? Beth, are you with us?
Yep, sorry, just unmuting. Yes, this is a story of intergenerational wisdom. It was actually quite fun to make because my parents are keen gardeners, so I actually used the process of intergenerational wisdom while I was putting this scene together, and it's using the senses that the pelargonium with its beautiful aroma often evokes for us to explore that topic.
Another one, again, Beth.
This is a fun story about me and my, you can't see because I have this background on, but just above my head is Brian. Brian is my favorite pothos plant. He's in my studio with me, and this is the story of me and Brian and the story of companionship.
And then follows number 4 of the zine, which is a freestyle connection with Peace Lily, the beloved Peace Lily, which also was part of several sessions that I was leading with people. And based on that came this material. Like, I wonder what would happen if you try it out, to draw and paint and explore connection between me and Peace Lily through that zine. Then Lore?
Hello. Like the zine number 5 is an invitation to follow the spider zine, the spider plant, which is a plant that already from how it looks it feels moving outward with all the little leaves falling down and the stems and new spiderets, the little baby plants that comes out of these looking outwards stems. And so the idea was to follow the spider plant in the journey of moving and balance, how we can find home, peace, and also the curiosity that we need and the courage to go outwards in the world.
And then we keep going with this from seed to fruit process that was held in Croatia. So I guess Elisabetta.
Yes, thank you. So Ivana already mentioned the 5 phases that are the base of these five zines. Maybe something I just wanted to share here. One thing I learned through this project, I didn't know what zines were before. So just in case if somebody is listening to this conference and we are mentioning these zines, what they are, they're actually these little self-published books where you can share your interest, your art, your passion, anything you're passionate about, you can actually share it and create it. So this was like something new. Maybe somebody's hearing it for the first time as well. And it is very beautiful that this simple tool can represent this connection or this bridge between us and a plant we are working with. So as Ivana said, 5 plants, 5 plant phases. So from seed, this is actually a story about wisdom. So we put it into storytelling, and these are actually in Croatian now, but I will translate them in English. So the zine number 6 is story about wisdom, and then this little seed that's already holding all the magic. The zine number 7 is story about 7. Or about 7 elements that we need actually to grow, or plants that need to root and shoot. The next story is story about quiet revolution. So once a plant gets its first leaf, so this is the phase of a first leaf, after that the photosynthesis starts, and it's quite an revolution. After that we have a story about layers. This is a story about so growing to the adult, this phase of plant life, and about all the layers that plant needs to grow, all the root, the strength it has to have, the leaves it has to grow before it gives flowers and fruits. And the last story is the 10th story is story about cycluses. And actually it's a story about death and about dying and about closing the cycluses and starting new ones. So that's the last plant phase from flower to seed back again. So yes, very happy to see all of them together like this volume. And then for the last zine, Lorema.
Grazie, thanks. So the last zine we thought to create one zine which is open, and it is not referring to one specific moment in the plant life, either to one specific plant, and for this reason it can be adapted to each plant people has next to them. And the basic structure is following the roots, the stems, and the leaves. So this internal structure of the plant. And also in this case, the topic is open. So in the first pages, the person would be asked to decide, to reflect on which topic they want to bring for this reflection. And in this way can also be used also several times with different topics that maybe are present in different moments of life.
Thank you so much, Lore. And so you may see that's our product. It seems 11 zines, but there are 11 incredible connections. And we are talking here about the individual processes or group processes that were not done really before. And then they reveal something new, and we really wonder what you may discover by yourself. And maybe you will be inspired to create your own story about your connection with plant. All this you can see in a QR code, which is here, and we can also send the link where you can download the zines. And each of them are in free languages, easy to print even now in a regular printer at your home. Also, you can be more professional. We can send you even bigger files if you want to print it in a bigger edition. It's all free source, so please feel free to enjoy it. And I just wonder if any of our colleagues would like to add anything at that stage before we keep going.
Yes, I would like to add just one thing. I love actually, Dagna, how you said how to use these zines, and that's actually to view them as a flowers on a meadow. And you can pick one and pick another one and pick another one and maybe go back to another one. So I like the freedom that they give you. So you can explore each topic when you actually feel it's the right time for you. So this is something I like this metaphor very much.
Thank you so much. And for now, maybe we can stop sharing just for a second, Beth, if that would be all right. Just to, we are all spotlighted here, seems. There are people coming and going, coming and going. I just wanted to see who is in our community, and maybe you would like someone of you unmute or say hello or something, just to give energy of the community, or write in the chat anything to us so we can feel your presence. Whoever would like to maybe take floor or write in the chat. Good morning, welcome. You will be also invited to have your own personal exercise with plants. Also, we recommend you to shake your body a little bit, because we are gonna now to dive into 5 stories. All right, so breathe in, breathe out. I don't see much crowd here jumping to microphones. I can understand that as well. So, dear people, 4:28 a.m. in Toronto. Thank you, Emma. I'm so glad you are with us. Yes. All right. That explains also. So, dear people, before we go into your experience as well with plants, we want to follow 5 different invitations which are also describing our understanding of that project from a bit different perspective. So I can start first one as so my invitation, and Beth, if you can just shortly show my invitation, which is, and my invitation, which later on might be also your invitation, would be, how can I sense a connection with a plant? How can I sense a connection with a plant? Right? Now, you may stop sharing because just I wanted to show you something. So if I could be on a spotlight, so I'm visible. Dear people, so I was talking to you about the peace lily, and my little story about the connection will be, I have this peace lily with me, and I have to tell you that before that project, um, my flat would look completely different. Now, if you come and enter my space, it's a jungle because I started to adopt plants after connecting and learning with them. And I have to tell you, by writing this project, this little lily and other plants somehow were resonating with me. Well, like, I suddenly sensed their beingness. And I know that for some, very realistic of you would sound very weird. How can you sense a presence of a plant? Is it possible? And me as a forest therapy guide, maybe my senses expanded a little bit more being in the forest. And then suddenly I opened my perception of plants to those little beings sitting on my windowsill, standing somewhere in a corner. And somehow, when I opened this channel of communication, we started to resonate. And it's very difficult to describe this resonation with them. The easiest thing maybe is a creative process. Each of the drawing that are in a zine are co-created with plants, so they were basically sitting with me. Made one with a monstera and one with a peace lily. Were sitting with me, and I almost felt the feeling like, hey, do you think it's a good side of me that you present on that zine? Can you turn it a bit this or that? The connection to plants to me, it's something what is difficult to describe because I don't think we have terminology for that really yet. I think we need a new words, not to simplify it, not to create out of this a spiritual journey, not to create out of that like fairy tale, but to really understand that we are humans, part of a nature, and we do have connection to nature. And somehow in our journey across the urbanization, we are, some of us lost this door, and we have it. And it needs only little doors to open it, to look at the plant, and suddenly this resonation, this resonant thing, it impacts us. It impacts myself. It makes me healthier. It makes me stronger. It makes me more creative. In a moment of loneliness, it gives me company. And then, of course, I give it back. So what I do, suddenly, I start to make I bought the purple lamps, the lamps that may give my more light to my plants, the power of a sun over the winter time. I created a special water system to the plants, which I learned from Monica, which gonna to introduce you maybe later in the future. I started to really learn about them, how strategic they are, how they turn to the light, how they remember, how they cross through the generations, what's about their roots, how can we make them secure and cool, how to keep them together so they can be in companies and groups, and at the end, how can we bring that to the institutions, to places where people are lonely, closed in the walls, and they may have the connection to plants because this is so natural, so important for us. Maybe I can sound a bit like woo, but I'm so passionate that, and I'm so touched by this project and this connection that's revealing. And I'm assisted by all these plants around me now. And I hope you have your plants as well next to you, with you. I hope I didn't take too long with the invitation. How can you sense your connection to plant? And might be that it can inspire you. And now when you would look a little bit at your plant, or maybe you take one zine with you, and start to see, hi, how you smell, how you see, how you look like, what color you have, what shape, do you need anything, that you will see this miracle that is in between and plant and human. That was my story. And thank you so much. And I pass floor to another person from our team. Thank you, Daphne, for the heart.
Thank you, Dagna, so much for this story and inspiration. Before maybe I share my story, I saw Michelle Huang raising hand right before Dagna started speaking. I don't know, Michelle, if there is something you would like to share, say hi.
Oh, just like to say hi. I live in
Okay.
Taiwan.
In Taiwan, nice to have you here, to have you as a part of this community. Thank you. I also saw that in chat, we also, maybe I can share, Suzanne says, I'm so curious, love all my plant children. Thank you, Suzanne, for sharing. And then Olive Walsh, I hope I said nice. Good morning from the beautiful west of Ireland. Wow, a wonderful novel, The Overstory by Richard Powers, talks about the inherent connection between humans and nature. I don't know. I'm not sure if Dagna read it, but I'm sure she felt it. So, it was like a big love story to plants. I got it from Dagna now. But thank you so much for sharing in the comments. If somebody else feels inspired, please also share them. So I start with my story. And the invitation I would like to give you is, in this moment, what is already simple? This invitation, I feel like this project was giving to me all the time. Unlike Suzanne, that loves all of her plant children, before this project, I didn't have any plants in my apartment, like any. I would say I like to travel. Why have it here? It's just inconvenient. Why would I kill a plant and so on? And my connections was with the forest and with the nature, with the big trees. And that was my connection. So anyway, during creation of these workshops, these 5 phases of plant life, I was challenged as an educator a lot. I was asked to grow in directions I didn't know it was possible. I have to be honest. This was not an intellectual thing. This was a wisdom thing. It was quite different layers and levels to creating something like this. And so first workshop, second, third, okay, everything good, I'm growing, it's good. But then there was a 5th workshop, and it was basically workshop about death. And my target groups were elderly people. And it was too complex for me. And when I say complex, I mean, I was so much in my head and this big topic, how will I create this workshop about this big complex thing, dying and this process of blah, blah, blah. And it was really starting to become a burden to me. And I'm not even kidding you, because how do I come to elderly people and do this workshop if I'm generally, like almost energetically, I cannot teach them anything, like I cannot be the space for, and so I remember going to my tree and sitting in the nature and just receiving the invitation in this moment, what is already simple. And suddenly and slowly, this big topic of dying off and death started to kind of melt. And the metaphors started to arise, and I started to connect with actual plant cycle. So what plants do brilliantly, and it is very simple, they put all of their nutrition back into the roots, and they create a good and kind environment for next generations. And while the physical health of plant is, it's putting the nutrition down in the roots, humans as well do this. So our physical health declines, but our wisdom, our values, our spiritual health becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And in this phase, people should be mentors. They should be mentoring. They should be giving the roots to communities. They are so important part in every community. And once this simple truth was discovered, it was so easy and simple to put this workshop into just into story, just to plant this story. It was very simple and it was beautiful. So I don't know my timing. Maybe I should be thoughtful of this. Dagna, yeah. But this is my invitation to you. Maybe if you have a complex topic that you are carrying now on your burdens, maybe I wonder what would happen if you were to sit with your plant and kind of show this topic to a plant and go, in this moment, what is already simple? So much from me for now. I give the floor to a next beautiful speaker. Is it Beth? Yes, it's yours.
Yep, it's me. And thank you for that. That was really moving, Elisabetta. Thank you. So I would like to share with you an observation that I had quite early on with these workshops that we were doing, the group workshops, which led me to ask the question, how to meditate with a plant. What we all noticed and we shared in our team meetings throughout all of the workshops we began to do during the growth section with all the different target groups, everybody was giving the same feedback. It's like, wow, I've never felt so relaxed. And as I was preparing for this, I just wrote down the word calm and then I underlined it. And I thought, you know, we can't underestimate this in this day and age. We're bombarded by so many different inputs, impulses all the time, social media, news, our job situation, our own dreams and aspirations, and it's all go, go, go. And we often lose sight of this very precious capacity to stop, to slow down, to relax, to calm ourselves down, our nervous system down. And we need that for our health. So I'd love to say I began to develop the idea, but that would be over exaggerating it. Actually, I slightly screwed up the timings of one of my workshops and we had this extra bit of time and I thought, what are we going to do? And I was like, okay, let's do a little meditation. And I just completely freestyled. So thanks to the plant for being my guide, really. I was with this Mexican mint and we did a little meditation. We don't have time for the whole thing now, but I just want to share the concept with you because this is definitely something that you could practice in your own time. It's just to imagine your way. I don't know how much you can see this. I have a plant with me. Imagine your way through the plant, basically, as if you are kind of journeying through the leaves and then inside, down the branches, into the roots, into the soil, and work your way around and just become very aware using your imagination of this journey of the energy inside a plant, inside the soil, and coming back up again and finding yourself back on the top leaf and what that journey feels like. And we just spent about 5-10 minutes doing this and it was transformational. The whole group was like, wow, I feel so calm. And so I just wanted to share that process with you and invite you in your own time with your own plants to practice this little meditation. It's really effective. And I will hand the floor over now to the next person, which is Ivana.
Mine is a story about what do I have trust in. So I want you to sit with this for a while and you will have the opportunity. What do I have trust in? As you can see here on the image, if you can see, there is an avocado plant, which I grow. It is still here with me. This is a symbol of this project, and we use it in all of our workshops. But this is a symbol for me. What do I trust in? What do I trust in to bring this into this community that you see here on the dissemination event? So I believe that my story is, I would call it a leap of faith. For a long time, I felt like I was tending a seed only I could see in my community. I was believed that even if others couldn't see it yet and understand it, and I think our whole team felt the same. We were quietly nurturing this small revolution beneath the surface, and we worked patiently and sometimes in uncertainty And we trusted that something meaningful was growing, even if no one else could see it. And then came the final event when we shared our results and outputs with institutions and the public, and the last jigs of peace finally clicked. People could see what had been forming all along. Even those who had been part of this process experienced their own aha moment, recognizing the value of their contribution and the shape of what we built together. But what was necessary in this leap of faith? I needed to trust myself. I needed to trust the process. I needed to trust my friend and coworker Elisabetta to give form to the knowledge and clarity, our designer to shape it visually, and I needed trust in our partners to guide us with this experience. And we trust that more people will come, people who will see our vision, walk alongside us, and help it grow. So I would say that this leap of faith was worth it. But the question is, what is trust? What do I trust in? What trust do I have? So I want you to sit with this for a minute and think about, what do I have trust in? And this was from me, and I think we are going to the final round of invitations, and this is Thea. So I'm welcoming Thea, who was also part of our journey.
Okay. Thank you, Ivana, for your story. I have another invitation. It's in what ways could you see your house plant differently? I started to know Kulturnest when I did workshops from Tilia. You did, and I made also a workshop with planting stories, and this was a magic moment for me because I love plants. I have many plants at home and on my balcony, but in this way I was curious what is coming in this workshop, and it was this question that hit me. It was the question of, where does this plant come from? And suddenly I recognized, well, this plant has a history, and maybe his roots is far away, away on a part of Earth where I had never been, and so I felt with him, where is your original home? And well, maybe I started to look closer, and I slowly and felt with the plant, well, maybe sometimes I feel also a little bit lost in this world, hurrying and rushing, and maybe also this plant is asking me curiously where I'm landed here. Maybe she's growing up in a greenhouse, but her ancient her family before was on a different place on Earth, and so that changes the rhythm to look at my plants and to connect with them, and feeling that they are beings and with needs. And now I started to think, well, maybe I should um, recognize their real needs and not what I imagine maybe they have that need. So I go deeper into this being, and it makes me feel, oh, I have friends. I'm not alone. These beings are with me. So I'm very thankful for this beautiful workshop, and I invite you to ask what happens if you look at your house plant and think, where this being has been traveled so long, and just to be with you. What coincidence. So thank you. So I give the rose, the plant, the rose, further on to.
Thank you,
Oh,
Thea.
thank you
Yes,
to Sagna. Hey.
I resonate with you. I got
Yeah, okay.
spotlighted. And dear community, I'm so happy that we are here. And before we go and dive into the world, how to take care after plants with our expert that's gonna to join us soon. We wanted to give you a chance, maybe after our stories, to also have your own story, to your own story to share with us. So we were following those invitations. How can I sense a connection with a plant? What is already simple? How to meditate with a plant? What do I have trust in? In what ways could you see your houseplant differently? Maybe one of those questions. Just pick one. Or maybe you have your own. You are not resonating with any of those, but maybe you just want to sit with a plant. So I wonder what would happen if you would take one of those questions or whatever is alive now with you, and you have next 7 minutes just to sit with your plant, or if you don't have plant next to you, to look through the window. And if you don't have a window and you are closed in a room and you don't have a plant, close your eyes and connect to the plant you remember. And just I wonder what will happen, what arises there when you try to sit with it and follow any of those invitations. And after 7 minutes, which means hour 57, hour 57 now in Central European time is 10:57, but wherever you are, it will be 57. Join us back here, and then we'll open the smaller rooms to share what happened in this, whatever it needs to be shared. So to have a yes, you are now in the main room. You can switch off your camera if you want to know, or you can keep on your camera. It's also great. I'm just wondering if you have anything that you would like to bring to the bigger community after this conversation, and a highlight and a comment, anything from your side.
Uh, can I say something?
Yes, Tomislav, please.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, the whole morning I've been dividing attention between this and my son who has a stomach flu. So sorry for not always being attentive, but what I wanted to say is I was thinking and I shared my thoughts with Thea. I actually exchanged my thoughts with her. But yeah, what I was thinking is that first of all, I was very grateful to be able to translate things, the 16s for you from English to Croatian. And what it made me realize is this was like kind of my idea. So, nurturing a plant or engaging with a plant is such a nice, convenient medium for everybody who can actually, in deciding to nurture a plant or give focus and attention to a plant, actually you give focus and attention to yourself. And it is really nice to convey with people who, well, let's say, if we are helpers and we want to work with somebody, because plant on the one hand is a living being, it can respond to responsiveness and nurture and care. And it is also grateful in the way that it wouldn't stress you out if you make something wrong. I mean, okay, it might die, but definitely there is very much space to avoid that. So I guess that anybody who might decide or give their focus to engaging with a plant has this very nice space to explore also what is in tune with their soul and with their preference, and also learn to see the feedback from the plants in most delicate but then rewarding way. So yeah, these were my thoughts.
Thank you, Tomislav. You introduced so many layers of
Yeah.
the connection and impact of it. No more words to say. If anyone would like to say, share anything, it's also our chat. Feel free to write your thoughts on the chat. You may. I love the hearts. I don't know. Somehow I'm enjoying that. So Susanna, also thank you so much. It's gives me feeling of meaningfulness. And yes, yeah, we are practicing now. I'm also thank you also Miraj for being with us. And you may also see here a curly head of a person who made amazing animations. That was at the beginning when you entered, and later on we'll show it again with you. Which Miraj, what he managed to illustrate the connection with a plant in a serious and true way in a 30 seconds animation. So Miraj, thank you a lot for this. And we'll come back to you later on. Just I wanted to recognize your beingness in here. And you also may see that with us is Monika Popczyk already. She is expert, our incredible experts of plants. And she will gonna to take floor in 2 minutes. So 1/4 past the hour we are in. Why 2 minutes? Because now if you need a toilet, if you need a grass, a tea or water, that's the time to run and do it. Or just wait 2 minutes. Maybe Beth, you can play 1 minute song or something. So comfort 2 minutes for you. And then Monica, the floor is yours. All right. 1/4 past hour. So 2 minutes. I want to ask if this music is from a plant music. Could you reveal what the sounds are?
Yeah, this is a track. I just found it on Spotify. It's a track by Brian Eno. And bear with me. It's called Bloom, A Small World. Brian Eno and Peter Chilvers.
Thank you also to admitting who our music is. And here we are, dear people. Woohoo! Another chapter of our conference, online meeting or community. Welcome, Monika Popczyk. And floor yours, please. You will be spotlighted now. And introduce yourself because you know the best what a story is relevant in that context. Here we go.
Hi, hello, hello, all of you. Welcome. I have a tiny little presentation that I prepared so that you don't have to look at my face all the time. Let me share. Does everybody see the girl with plants and
No, I can't see it yet.
you can't? Oh, once again. Oh yeah, now. Share.
Yes, that's great.
Now you can. Wait, I'm going to.
What a beautiful photo.
So yes, the photo is from 5 years ago. I looked a little bit different by then, and of course we all age. But it's I love this photo, and this is why I wanted to show it to you because there's this look in my eyes, and that really shows this profound connection that I've got with plants. So I look literally like a kid that you put in a chocolate store, and the eyes are just popping out. And the picture was taken when I was on the visit to a nursery. I'm a landscape architect, so actually I'm going to go back a couple of a couple of steps back. Then I'll tell you about the picture. So I'm a landscape architect. I have been working for 20 years doing basically public spaces, and perfectly happy working on exterior landscape projects. Like you can see here some images from the projects that I've built in the past 20 years. And then there was a point when one of my clients, they approached me and they said, look, we've got also quite a lot of interior stuff, and we need to have interior plants. Can you do that too? And at that time, I had absolutely no idea. It's a completely different world. Whatever we have outside and inside, they are different plants. They have different natural habitats. They are reacting in a different way. And so you have to also treat them in a different way. So I had no idea. But of course, I said, yes, of course, I can do it. I can do it. So, and then I immediately embarked on this adventurous journey of getting to know the plants and the material that I'm supposed to work with. So I was asked to do a first planting installation with interior plants, and well, I said, well, if I have to do this, then I also have to understand how they grow, how quickly they grow, whether they grow, and how to care for them in the enclosed area. So I started doing two things. On one hand, very professional part, where I was actually going to all the nursery stores and looking at the plants and talking to the people that have been working with them for quite some time, to be able to gather as much as information as possible, and also to get an impression, because it's different when you are looking at the plant on the picture, and of course it's different when you actually hold it in your hand. So that was one of the things. And then on the other hand, I said, well, if I want to really get to know them, then I better start surrounding myself by plants at home. And at that time, it was also, it was a time of my life when I was moving a lot, so I didn't have many plants. And I was also a typical plant killer, so I would buy one and then I would sort of, get distracted and do something wrong. I didn't know what. It died on me, frustration, the drill. Everybody went there. And we probably, all of us felt that frustration once in a while. So there was a point when I decided that I have to take that a little bit more seriously and really sort of make a bit of a research and find out what I'm doing wrong. Start with a simple plant and then go to a more difficult one. So yeah, by now, this picture has been taken this year. We were moving. On the front, you can see my husband doing the great support. And so, but right now, I mean, it really got out of control. What you see at the back is basically my home, and what you see in the picture is how it looked when we sort of chopped all our plants in one room while moving. So I really did take this job seriously, and I did a lot of investigation, and I've learned how to care for plants. And this is what I would love to share with you, all my tips of how to avoid killing them and actually become this very successful plant person. But just before I actually dive into this, I want to share something that I just lived past week. So one of my, this is just a couple of pictures that I wanted to share with you from the actual nurseries, which is really cool because it's like a plant shop, but multiplied by 100. So you can really see these massive amounts of that house plant that, I mean, you have one like this, but then suddenly you see fields of them. So it's really cool, and it's very inspiring. So I would also say that whoever loves plants and you get the chance to go to plants nursery, do it as much as possible. And if you don't have a nursery around, go to a plant shop. It's just as good. Slightly smaller, but it gives you the same feeling of being immersed in planting. It's just fabulous. So, and you get to see also all these kind of plants that you've never heard about. You see them in a different dimensions, different sizes. It's great. So, and this is, for example, why I also love so much about going to the nurseries, because you, yeah, you really get to know what the plant can do to a space, how, what kind of impact it has on the size of it, etc. You can touch it, you can see the leaves, you can finally understand whether the leaf is flexible or it is not. So this is all valuable information for later on for caring for it, etc. So yeah, what I wanted to share with you is this last week experience. So I've worked for 2 last years on a quite big project, and we were really this wonderful team of all kinds of professionals: the interior architects, the lighting designers, the architects, of course, and yeah, our fabulous management team, and us, the landscape architect. So this photos that I included here are only the interior photos, because this is what mostly relates to the interior, to the plants that we have in our surroundings. But you can see that I was also able to use trees in this project, and generally just fill the space with green. And I'm extremely excited because this is the first project after, I think, really being for 15 years in this interior plant business, that I have the feeling that we actually accomplished what we wanted. So the project is a shopping mall. There is nothing mysterious about it. But it is so extremely filled with plants that it completely changed the perception of the space. You no longer have this feeling that you are in this commercial area, that everything is just focused on buying, but it is also a kind of space where you actually feel comfortable to stay around, hang around, rest, and so on. So here you can just have a bit of an idea of how the planting is literally woven everywhere. And with the trees at the back, so it really turns the entire space into this kind of orangerie feeling. We've got also some really funny tiny little structures that are going to be overgrown by the greenery as the years go by. But the most, let's say my favorite are these little areas. So this is normally when in a shopping mall you've got this tiny little place where they put a bench and a little bin and a sad little Dracaena plant looking at you. And these places are usually very boring and very exposed. You are sitting right in the middle of the corridor. And with this project, we managed to change that and really surround the entire space by plant, interplanted, put the chairs in between, so that you really have this feeling that you are suddenly, for that little short while, you are disconnected from all the shopping experience. That it's just about you and the plants, and you can either just relax and look around, or you just can simply sit and rest and enjoy being in this greenery. So this is why I think that this project is such a spectacular achievement, because I have never been able until now to have such a experimental client who would actually say, yes, let's do it. It's a lot of plants, there will be visibility issues, etc., etc., but let's do it. So yeah, we had wonderful comments on the project. The people are glad. I've got a very few pictures with people, actually, because when I was taking photos, the areas were still closed. They were behind the construction screen. So, but you can see that, yeah, for example, you hear some visitors already. So I've tried to create these tiny little places within the tiny little places where you actually can really hide between the greenery, and you've got these two chairs and a tiny table where you are completely surrounded by plants. And yeah, so that's let's say my last baby. I'm very proud of. That's why I wanted to share it with you. And now I'm going to go back to a full screen. You can, yeah. And I'm going to tell you a couple of tricks and tips of yeah, plant care, the care for the plants at your home. So first of all, just for the general message that I would like to share with everyone is don't ever get demotivated. Plants will and plants do and they will keep dying on us once in a while. There's just some that we cannot control everything, and there will be always surprises. Sometimes you think, oh my God, I'm doing everything according to the book, and why is it looking like that? And well, you will never know. And why you will never know? Because we don't know exactly in what kind of conditions these plants are being grown before they actually reach the shop. We don't know how often the shop didn't water them properly, so how much stress that plant already get. We basically don't know the plant's physical baggage. We don't know. It's just like with humans. We all carry our baggage, and it all. I mean, if we had an accident a long time ago, that foot might still hurt when the weather changes. With plants, it's the same. So it's sometimes, for example, if the plant has been grown in really hard conditions or have been transported for a long time in dark containers, and some of them they are weaker, some of them they are stronger. So if you got the weaker one, well, then it really doesn't matter how much effort you will put in, it might still die on you. So don't get demotivated by that. Nevertheless, don't get too relaxed either. When you are going to a shop and you are going to purchase a plant, and it's all beautiful and you love it, and it comes with this very handy plastic pot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little thing underneath and right into the living room. So this is completely wrong. Don't ever think that this is going to work. So this is the rule number one. Whenever you buy a plant, you have to transplant that plant from this sad little plastic pot into something bigger that is at least, I would always say, 1 or 2 fingers bigger on both sides of the plant. So you just take this and you say, okay, well, 2 fingers. 2 fingers bigger, because that plastic pot that you have just seen, it's not meant for it is the plant is not sitting in it because it's good for the plant. It's because it's good for the transport. It saves volume, and it just gives enough planting medium, the soil, just enough soil for the plants not to dry out completely and die during the transport. But when you want to grow it successfully, and especially when you want it to actually grow, to become bigger and mature, then you really need to give it some more space. So I always encourage people to buy the plant, and then next day go and buy a pot that is bigger and transplant that plant. There are plenty of different ways of transplanting, or you can transplant it into a normal organic soil. You can transplant it to mineral soil. It really just takes half an hour of Google research, and you will see all these possibilities. So choose whatever you find handy at that moment. Don't overcomplicate it. If you have, for example, typical plant soil for interior plants, and you come across this article on internet that says, no, the best soil is the mineral one. Don't bother. Don't believe it. There is no one truth. There are so many truths at the moment, and everybody's claiming on the internet that they've got the right one. There's just take it as a range of possibilities that you can shop from. So if somebody says, no, the best soil is the mineral soil, fine. But if you don't have it, just plant in whatever you've got. But try to follow a couple of rules that I'm going to tell you now. So rules about the soil are quite simple. Think about it as since we are planting in a pot, that plant doesn't have any connection to the bigger soil area, like that's the case in gardens, right? So it really relies on whatever is in that pot. This is the reason why I'm always saying, whatever, if you can amend it, if you can put some compost, some additional compost in, or for example, if you can make sure that that soil is aerating a lot, that the air circulation is good in this kind of soil, try to do it. So how do we do it? So for example, you can usually when you buy a good quality pre-mixed planting soil for interior plants, you're good to go. You don't really need to break your head about doing amendments, etc., because for the first 6 months, that soil contains everything that the plant will need. After 6 months, the plant has absorbed most of the nutrients, so then you will need to fertilize. And then again, I'll come back to the fertilizing a little bit later. But for the for the soil, you can go really simple. Go to a shop, buy the plant mix, and that's it. As you go and you experiment with your plants, you might start doing your own mixes, and this is what I normally do. So what I normally do is I buy a bag of good but not too expensive planting mix for interior plants. And I just put it in I've got this big plastic box, construction box. I just put that soil in, and then I'm mixing it with other materials that I like, and I like how the plants reacted to it. So for example, I also buy a brick of a coconut fiber. It's I think it's called coconut soil. You can literally buy it as a brick in a supermarket or in a plant store, and you add water to it, and then the brick expands because the fiber absorbs the water, so it's suddenly from a brick that almost weighs nothing, you get 4 liters of a proper coconut substrate. And then if you would plant only in that coconut substrate, it would also work. You can do that as well. It's possible. I used to do it for quite some time, but I've noticed that if you add a little bit more of organic matter into it, that my plants were growing better. So right now, this is what I'm doing. I'm mixing. But like I said, for years, I've been growing purely in this coconut fiber, and it was all good. So I normally add then the coconut fiber. I add also perlite. It's a mineral, tiny little balls, white. It looks like styrofoam, but it isn't. It's a mineral, natural product, and it improves the air circulation. So air circulation is something that is very important, because if you imagine that the soil is like in nature, it has all these pores, it has all these oxygen bubbles locked into it, and there is also microflora living in it, and this all allows the plants to actually thrive. If you would have a completely sterile environment, and that there would be no life in it, there would be no oxygen in it, that plant has nothing. It's like to put a plant in a completely dead concrete environment. This plant wouldn't grow; it will start declining, and at the end it will die. So it is really a very good tip is to try to get as much life as you can into the soil, because you are not going to have bugs running around. Don't worry about it. I'm talking about really microflora. This is mainly bacteria, tiny little fungus that the plant can benefit from, etc. So, for example, some people also like to add compost to their soil. I do that sometimes. I have a worm bin on my balcony, so once in a year when I harvest that, I would put also for my in this plant mix, I would put some vermicompost. You can even buy vermicompost nowadays. I mean, I think even you can get it online. You just basically type vermicompost, and then you get the actual stuff. I like it a lot because it's very fine. So it mixes very well with the soil. It doesn't have any let's say big chunks of unprocessed green matter that might start get moldy or something like that. Excuse me. So yeah, but that is mainly how I do it. So I just put all these ingredients as if I would be making a cake. I just mix it, and then I use it in my planting pots. Once again, if this sounds like too much science, don't be worried. There are people that are paid for doing this, so they bag it up. Basically go to a plant shop or to a building superstore where they have a plant department. Get yourself a nice bag of already made plant mix and use that one. Once we've got that sorted, so we've got a bigger pot, we've got a proper planting. So one very very quick note to this to close this entire plant soil part is why you cannot plant, because some people that I know have actually tried to plant interior plants in a pot in the regular garden soil that they would dig up from the garden. I don't recommend anyone to do it because that soil is really way too heavy. The pores are way too small. That is just not the right kind of soil to be used in containers. Not even in the containers in the garden. So I always say that whenever you want to plant in your garden in pots, in containers, you have to lighten up the soil. You cannot just take the heavy black soil from the garden and just put it in the containers. It won't work. It will just squeeze the roots to the point that everything what is under the 25 centimeters layer, it will become anaerobic, so that there is no air coming in anymore. You will start rotting process, and the nutrients are not available to the plant, etc. So not a good idea. Let's stick to the interior plant mix. There's also one other factor. Our interior plants, like this one and the one that I've got at the back, and another one sitting here, they are all tropical plants. None of them they actually live in our climate outside, because our plants, our Northern European plants or Southern European plants, are simply they need more cold than we can provide them in our homes. So, and in our homes, the plants that we are buying, like the Monstera, like the Calathea here, this one, and like the Dracena that I have here, you probably know this one on a very long stick as well. All of these, they are plants that come originally from the tropics, and they thrive in our indoor environment because of the temperature, and but they also need a little bit of help in terms of humidity. So Whoever wants to be a really good, successful plant person sprays the plants once in a while with just a simple water. So when you really want your plants to develop these very healthy big leaves and keep growing, they need moisture. They need moisture from the air. In the tropics, in Singapore, for example, the content of the moisture in the air is so high that when we come out of the airport and we get this first blow of air into our face, it's too much. It's too humid for us, the Europeans. But this is what our plants actually like. So just think about it, and according to that, act on it. This is also an important point, that if you want your plant to be healthy and growing amazingly, get to know it. Google it a little bit. I mean, the zines are very helpful in that as well, because you've done this entire research and the entire story about where the plant comes from, and how does it live in its own habitat, and so on. These are interesting things, and it also helps you to connect, of course, with a plant. But for me mainly, that just provides me a lot of very valuable information on how I can keep this plant healthy, and how I can make this plant think that my home is her natural environment. So then we've spoken about the soil. We've got to move to a second, or actually probably the first most important point, which is water. And there is always this thing, oh, did I water enough? Did I water not enough? There is technology for that, and if you're not sure, go to once again the big construction market, to the plant department, and look for a tiny little device that is called a humidity meter, or watering meter. There are different devices. They cost probably from €1 to €3, and if this will make you feel more confident about whether you are watering enough or not enough for the beginning, I certainly recommend it. I haven't used the water meters from Ceramis. Ceramis is a brand that released these kind of very simple water meters. It's just like a little stick, which you put into this. I don't have one anywhere, so I can't show you. But once again, when you Google, you'll find it. It's a little stick, and it shows you, I think, with colors, whether the plant needs to be watered or doesn't. So that is for all of you that don't feel confident enough to sort of test it. But for all of you that actually don't mind getting a little bit dirty, I'll say a finger method is the best method. So I always just simply touch the soil. If your plant is big and it sits in a pot that is perhaps, I would say, 40 centimeters deep or more, then the finger method is no longer working. Then you need something a little bit more substantial, because the water, of course, will be mainly sitting at the bottom. But so there is also a little bit of a different care for plants when they are that big. But since most of us, we start with them when they are small, so I'll focus right now on the smaller ones, and perhaps in the future I can do a workshop on how to care for the big plants and how to make them even bigger. So for the smaller plants, the finger method is working perfectly. You just basically touch the soil, but not just at the top. You really have to stick your finger in for at least I don't know, 4 centimeters, 3 centimeters, because then you will notice if the soil is still moist, then give it another couple of days. Very often the plants, they like to get dry in between. Not all of them. Of course, the ferns, they need to be humid 24/7. But most of the other plants, like the monstera, like the calathea, like the dracena, they don't mind getting dry in between and then watered again. So that's one thing. Another thing is about watering is that I think 90% of, I've read it somewhere, and I was quite amazed, but then I thought, yeah, it makes sense. I think 90% of the plants are being killed with the wrong watering. And people are very often concerned, or maybe I've watered too much. Most of the times we water too little. So I don't know if what are we supposed to do with this information. I would still say do the finger test. But when you are in doubt, shall I or shall I not? I'd say water just a little bit, perhaps not a big, not the water can full, but just a little bit, and then see how the plant reacts. Whether the plant needs watering or doesn't, you can see also on the plant. You will see the leaves slightly hanging, not hanging big time. When it's hanging big time, you're too late. You really should, there is a big chance that you already killed that plant. There are certain species that that do hang actually really dramatically, and then they rise from the death, which is great. Yeah, the one that Dagna, the one that you have, Stratifilum, is this one is really the queen of drama. And I like it very much because it just has this conversation with you all the time. So I see it hanging a little bit, and it's like, oh yeah, you can use a little bit of water, right? And then I'm so sorry I abandoned you for too long. So it's kind of fun. But then there is, for example, a sister of this one, the Calathea. Calatheas are I have this love and hate relationship with them. Some of them, they have been just driving me mad because there's no way they would just simply die on me, always. But then there are some varieties like this one, for example. This one is called Insignis. And it's got these really cool leaves in 2 colors of green, and then at the back they are red. It's gorgeous. Well, this one looks fragile, but it's a killer. It's just keeps growing and growing, and it's very sturdy. The leaves will keep on emerging. You can even see, I mean, it's November, people. Who is growing in November? Well, this one. You can see this little tip. So literally it doesn't stop. And like I said, this one is new. I just got it from last week from my project. And so it still needs to be transplanted, and I need to go pot hunting. So so this one, for example, has several other sisters, other types of Calathea, and there is one that's very beautiful. It's called Orbifolia. It has this white and green pattern on their leaves, and this one is also the one that will show you actually when it needs to be watered. So try to establish that relationship with your plants and observe whether they are hanging a little bit, or they are I have, for example, a plant that is hanging there is a leaf over there. It's hanging above my desk, and at the it's well watered when all the leaves are above my screen. When as soon as I have a leaf that drops into the the screen frame, I know that it's time for water. So these are all the funny tricks, and aside from that, yeah, just common sense. We've had watering. What happens if you overwater? If you overwater a plant that you don't want to lose by no means, that it's really special to you and you don't want to take a risk of just leaving it in this soggy pot, I suggest you take it out of the pot, get rid of the soggy soil, just put some new dry soil. It's just like I would basically say transplant it, but transplant it into a dry soil. So make sure that whatever you add to the pot is dry, so that it will absorb this excess water and sort of make sure that the plant doesn't dry. What happens when you put too much water is that you are eliminating the air. So then everything then we are going back to the story that I told you earlier about the soil. Plant need both. So water. Then I think, yeah, you will probably have questions, so I'll get back to the watering point with questions. But now I'm going to move to the next point, and that is the common sense, that location, location. I was very often asked, can I put my plants here? Can I put my plant there? And I don't always answer, you have to find the place that works, for you. We are always limited to our square meters in our apartment and a certain amount of windows and so on. And then there is, of course, the orientation, south, north. So it can be a little bit confusing. I would say pick a spot where you would like to have your plant aesthetically, where you would like to have a plant in your home, right? And then once you have that spot, look around you and try to assess it, whether this is the right spot. So if that spot that you picked is on top of the heater, and we are in the month of November when the heater runs, I would say that's not the right position. Why? Because the heater is going to dry out the air even more. And really, it doesn't matter how much you spray them, but it will be just too dry. So the plant is going to be very, what happens is then when the leaves are becoming too dry, the roots are still doing fine, but at some point, your leaves will be very susceptible to pests. To tiny little bugs that are going to attack it, and these can really harm your plant. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But so I would say in the winter, the worst enemy is our heating system. So if you have a plant if you have a house full of plants and you want these plants to thrive, and you are in a smaller space where the presence of the heating is still quite close to the plants, where you cannot separate them as much as you would like, I would say try putting wet towels over the heating. So every time you had a shower, you come out of the bathroom, just throw that towel over the heating. It will dry your towel. You will have a nice warm towel the next morning, and it will make the air slightly bit more humid. I have a very big plant in my living room that is a family of this one. It's not a monstera, it's a different type of philodendron. I love it, especially because it has grown from quite a small plant into this massive cohabitant. And whenever the winter comes, I always separate it as much as possible from the heating, and I always put these towels on the heating for that particular purpose, to make sure that this one is going to be doing really well. All the others I simply push away. As soon as the winter and the heating time stops, then the heating is the best and the most the heater, the actual, the body of the radiator is the perfect place to have an amazing plant display. So I would say, yeah, change. I mean, why not? Why do we have to have plants on the same spot all the time? The only thing is what is quite important to figure to find out is that very often, most of the times, heaters are under the windows, and then you have to check whether your window is how much sun actually comes through this window. And if you are living in Croatia and your window is south facing and you don't have any blinds, then in the summer I wouldn't recommend to put indoor plants unless it's a cactus or any other succulent on that window, because it's going to get burned. For example, if you would put monstera or calathea or dracena, which are all of them, they are very low light forgiving plants, meaning that their natural habitat is somewhere in a shady part of the rainforest. So if you expose them to too much sun, you literally burn their leaves. And you can see that they become sort of papery and then yellow color predominates and etc. etc. So yeah, that. Other than that, yeah, if you have little to choose and your living room is quite dark and the windows are not really available for plants, and you still would like to have a plant, choose the plant that is the most low light forgiving. Like, for example, the one that Dagna has on the foreground, the one with the little flower, the white flowers, Spatifilum. This one is, yeah, this one. This one is absolutely the king of the darkness, and you can plant it. I have one, for example, in the bathroom where the window is the smallest, so it gets the least light. It's doing just fine over there and keeps thriving. So this one is, and I also tested it in a lot of public projects on a very dark locations. This one was one of those that have survived really well. Dracena, this one, the one that you probably know as on the big stick, on a big stem, is also a really good plant for the dark areas. So then I would say, then use these kind of the monstera is perfect as well for the dark areas. So there is a whole bunch of plants that can do better or worse. Do a little research and yeah, choose the one that can thrive on the dark spot. And then there was something that we just briefly spoke about just before we started with this presentation. When I talked with Dagna and with Beth, that we can actually nowadays buy a full spectrum light bulb. And that is the light bulb that gives like it says, full spectrum light. So it is very similar to the natural, let's say it is like a artificial version of a natural light, right? It has all the light waves that are needed for a plant to be able to live properly and thrive. So you can buy one of these bulbs. They are no longer red, no longer purple, no longer green or anything like that. Don't get scared. They are just the proper white colored light bulbs. Even the bulb looks like a regular bulb. If you look, I mean, you can choose. Some of them, they look very high-techy, and others are just like a simple regular bulbs. But just look for the full spectrum. And then you can change a regular, you can put it into a very normal lamp and make sure that you locate that either on top of the plant or you simply or on the side or something, so that you actually give that plant a little bit of extra, especially in these very dark months, like here in Berlin. It's already dark by 4 o'clock, and during the day it's not really light. So yeah, that bit of help that we can provide is always great. Because think about it, if you are coming from the tropics where you've got blue sky, it doesn't matter how deep in the rainforest you live, you still get a lot of lux, a lot of light And that's the kind of thought that you should keep in the back of your head throughout the dark months and caring for your plant. So yeah, the lights is a good tip. Nevertheless, the light is not. I wouldn't say it is not that important. It is important, but if you have your plant in a darker corner, but it is a shade-loving plant, and you care for it properly, without that lamp, it will still do just fine. So yeah, don't overcomplicate it. So we had common sense, we had location, and now we are moving to the last and the most important part, the pests. So like I said, these really can harm your plants. The plant can recover quite quickly from overwatering, but when there is a pest attack, the plants, they cannot recover from it like we recover from a cold. They always need they need help. They need your help. And if you sit on the behind your computer and do a bit of a research, and you read that you know, for that particular pest, it is good enough to spray the plant with garlic, and don't believe it. It's just not gonna work. I've been there, I've tested it all. I mean, I had the time when my house was smelling like a Mexican taqueria, because I was using chili and you know, garlic to spray the leaves, and it was a failure, complete failure. It took it's a complete time consuming activity as well. Waste of your time, waste of the plant. So whenever your plant is sick, take it seriously and go to the plant shop and get a proper medicine. So you can get them nowadays. They can be bio, they can be organic, they can be whatever, but take it seriously. Buy one of these. Don't try to cure your plant with cinnamon, because it's not going to work. So, for example, at the moment, I remember that 10 years ago, when I was sort of in the middle of my still quite wobbly plant adventure, and I was looking for different substances to cure it, or fertilizers and so on. There was a very small range of products on the market from a very small range of companies. And nowadays there's this explosion. Everybody's selling fertilizers. Everybody's selling. It's a little bit like with cosmetics, you know. The nicer the label, the more expensive it is. So I would always say, go basic. You use those that have been on the market for a very long time. They, you know, they are reliable because they have years and years of research behind them. I like Compo a lot. This one. It's a Compo, just a very, very simple brand that has different types of substances that you can mix with water, or already made sprays for when the plant gets sick. It's against this or that kind of pest. So usually what I try to do when my plant gets sick, you have to look at the first of all, you will start noticing your plant is not growing. And you will go like, how is this possible? I'm watering it, and why is it not growing? And then you will start noticing that it sort of looks off. The color of the leaf becomes different. You cannot really say whether it's more matte, or it's some yellow starts to prevail. You don't know, but you just will notice that something is wrong. And then is when you have to look really carefully. So you take the plant and look at the bottom of the leaves. Look at the stems. Look at the leaf on the top, and look around your plant at the ground or at the shelf that it's standing. When you see that it's sticky, you have aphid infestation. The aphids, they are tiny little bugs that are they are exceeding this kind of sticky substance. So when you see your floor suddenly shining on the spot where the plant is standing, be alarmed immediately. Immediately look at the plant, and then what I normally do is I immediately shower the plant. I try to wash it as good as possible. I get some sort of medicine that I apply after that. So first I wash it, then I let it sit for a couple of hours so that the leaves get dry. Then I apply whatever it might be, whether it's a spray or it's sometimes there are also little pills that you can put in the soil. These I like a lot because they also have other nutrients, so it really works like a vitamin pill and antibiotic at the same time. It's not an antibiotic, it's a plant. It needs other things to normally it's a kind of it contains a substance that either kills the bug or makes the bug makes it intolerable for the bug, so they simply have nothing to eat and then they will die their own death. Yeah, chemically there are all different types of strategies and different types of explanations, but what is important for us is that it simply starts to help the plants to fight it. So at the same time, when you fight it, it is good to give it a balanced nutrition, and that is exactly what these little pills are doing. So you can, for example, buy fertilizing sticks. They are they are being sold even in the supermarkets. Just buy a stick, you put it in the pot, and it's a slow release fertilizer. So it gives very tiny little amounts of nutrients to the plant, and they make it available to the plant as the time passes by. So it's not like that you suddenly shock the plant with too much food, but it's more like you give it you make it available for the plant, and then it can gain again strength and fight these bugs back. So that is probably, yeah, the probably the biggest and the nastiest ones are those that you hardly can see. These are thrips. When you look at the leaf, and the leaf has to be light green, otherwise there's no way you will see it, because they look like tiny little black lines, but they move. They move. So if you look long enough, you will see that that these are thrips. And there is less products on the market to fight them. They keep on coming. I get thrips attack at least once a year. Most of the times, all my plants get it because I'm the one that spreads it, and that is also another thing for you guys to keep in mind. If your plant, if there is one of your plants that is already sick, try to wash your hands between watering this plant and the other plant, because you're just spreading it out, you know. So most probably you won't be able to curb it, because these kind of bugs we also carry. They can get on our sweater, and then it's enough if we just do this and it's already spread on the other plant. So but once again, don't get demotivated by that. It's just that's just a technical thing that needs to be treated. So yeah, I'm just thinking whether I've had it all. I think so. I think I had best. Oh, fertilizers. Yes, fertilizers. Don't overdo it. So normally the plants need nutrients as they grow, and these are as soon as the days becomes longer. So I would say here in Germany, for example, starting in February, then I would say from mid-February to approximately beginning of October, it still makes sense to fertilize. After that, you can still fertilize with a long-term fertilizer. So for example, if you put long-term fertilizer granules or these sticks that I just talked about, anything that is solid, that is being given into the soil slowly as it goes. If you give it, for example, in October, and you think, oh, I did it way too late, because then it will be feeding the plant all the way to through the winter. It's not a big deal. It's going to be okay because it's a slow release fertilizer. But don't do that same mistake with water soluble fertilizer. So, for example, if you have liquid fertilizer and you are adding it to the water during watering, that's the most logical thing. Then last time you should do it really is beginning of October and then no more. So don't do it again in November because you think that your plant looks a little bit off. When it looks a little bit off, usually it is not because of the lack of the fertilizer. It's the look for the pests and other possible factors. But I always try to fertilize less during or not at all during the winter months, and then in the springtime again. And then there is this misconception like, oh, I don't need to fertilize my plants at all. That's wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. I mean, think about it. It's a closed environment of a liter. Two, if you're more, if the plant is bigger, and it has an expiry date. These plants, they are living organisms. They are absorbing continuously. It's a ongoing process. So there is a point when just simply everything that is valuable to that plant is just eaten. So it is very important to fertilize it. If you don't like artificial fertilizers, then go for the fertilizing with some compost. But then I would say then go for the golden thing. Go for the vermicompost. It's like the caviar of for the plants. And you will see amazing difference because and sometimes it can be just as simple as you would scratch a little bit on the top of the surface of your pot, and then you will just spread like like this, as if you were seasoning it. And of course, you can add a thick layer. You can add even 2 fingers of that compost. That's totally fine, and it will be slowly absorbed by by the soil. It will just get mixed with it, and so on. But especially the nutrients, as you will be watering the plant, will be moving into the soil and mixing with it. So that is, for example, if you don't like to use any ready-made products. I like to do both because I've noticed that sometimes the long-term fertilizers are really good, especially if the plant is a little bit tricky, if it's very hard to balance it all out. Then I definitely go for put a stick or a pill, or I also like to experiment. I mean, it's part of my work. I have to do that. So so I'm also experimenting, and I always say that of course I don't experiment that much with chemicals, not at all actually, in my garden. So whatever is close to my the vegetables and all that kind of stuff that end up at the table, I usually only work with natural fertilizers. But for the interior plants, since they are basically just ornamental, I definitely use the slow release fertilizers. I use sticks, I use granules, I use pills. I don't use that much the stuff in the water, because this one is the one that is the easiest to overdo with. The water soluble. But if you are very how can I say, if you are a disciplined person and know and don't have that many plants as I do, for example, then definitely why not use the liquid one. So yeah, I think that I've had it all.
Thank you so
Come up with
much.
the questions.
Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation and so meaningful, which was me myself encouraging to take care of your plants and also to uh, like bring more plants to my environment. How we keep going now. Last question to you, Monica. How would you describe your connection to plants? Just with one sentence, what does it bring to you? Is it meaningful or not?
I couldn't imagine my life without them.
Mm.
It's really, it's I think that they are part of me by now, and yeah, I couldn't imagine my life without plants.
Thank you so much. And by the way, Monica will stay with us because it made me tears a little bit. Oh my God, I got emotional. So basically, we're gonna to go to breakout rooms. But before we go there, I just wanted to sabotage a little bit the space and to introduce, which I promised before, our Mirage, because we were talking about the connection about plants. And I would love, Beth, if you can find Miraj and put him on a spotlight as well. And because he was one who created animation, maybe first we can see it, and then Miraj may say maybe one sentence what this opened or what it brought to you, Miraj. What have you discovered through creating this animation? All right. So maybe first sharing the animation, the one with the night. I will do. All right. I'll try. Let's see if that
Perfect.
works.
Thank
Let's see if that works. Okay, sound share. You see black screen? I need sound. You see
Yeah,
it?
we can see.
All right. I can maybe make it even full screen. Maybe it's better. I don't know. Okay. And let's make play. Thank you very much for that. And Miraj,
Hi.
please
Um, my favorite is the other one, but this is also
I
nice.
know we're still going to the beginning, and this is in fact my favorite. So we
Really?
presented
Okay.
at the beginning of conference the first one, and it's on the website, so people can see it.
Yes. Thank you. So I have to say one sentence. Is that
Just something what's ringing your
uh,
heart. I'm just very curious, Miraj, because I remember when the connection to plant was not something that you would embrace every day before these animations, and then while talking about the stories and you stepping to the workshops, I remember with Lore, and then making your own research, you started suddenly speak the language of plants, and you created this incredible insights of this connection. Just wondering what happened, how it is for you. Is there anything you would like
Mhm.
to share with us?
Yes, I can share. The thing is, so this was one from the I went to Lorena's workshop. I was before, as Monica said, like plant killer. Uh, I was not understanding how to take care of it. Also, not spending so much like attention. Anyway, I went to Lorena's one workshop for planting stories workshop, and I got one really small geranium there. Now it is that big. First time I it first time I like took care of it, and of course because of the animation, I had to make more research and think about it. So while it was growing in my room, I was also making the animation. It was super nice opportunity for me to connect with the plants, and thanks a lot for inviting me for the project. Um, and yeah, it's kind of opened something in me, and I have some bit more plans more now, so it is nice. And in the workshop we wrote some name. We gave some name on the plant. So for me, I wrote faith because I was not having faith that it will grow up. That's why it was always dying. I was like, how it will grow. I was not giving water, then thinking that I was not believing that it can really grow for some reason, which is they always grow, but I was not believing that it can happen. So it's nice that it really grew.
Miraj, and thank you so much because you are a professional person who's making animations and different, and you use a language of visual image in motion, right? And that you could translate this connection to plant in this way, which is not making like, it's not a fairy tale, it's a true connection. I remember when you were talking about the dreams, how you connect through the simplicity, through the touch, through the watering.
Yes, we talked about dreaming with a plant, like maybe at night plants also like imagining that plants dreaming and we are also dreaming, we are sleeping at the same time. We were talking this kind of ideas, and there was one animation that I didn't make it in the end because it was long. And before I stop, if you like, I can just, because I draw the animation, but we didn't finish, so I can just show this like
Okay,
5 second thing,
show
so
and
it
see.
can give I don't know. How can I share my screen? Is it
It's
I have
a
a
sharing
have a
thing.
okay, now I saw. Um, so can you see?
Yes, we see that.
Um, so this was the first idea that we didn't do in the end. So he's giving water to plant and he's drinking the water. And it gets night. Yes, this was the another idea that in the end we couldn't do it, but yeah, nice to share at least.
Thank you so much, Miraj. Thank you so much. And let's watch the movies and hope you produce more with us or by yourself. And we are very grateful that you join us on that path.
Thank you very much.
And yes, the time is, we have still a little bit of time, which is around 36 minutes of our conference. And that we wanted to open breakout rooms. And we would like to have 2 rounds of breakout rooms, maybe around 14 minutes each. And there are free breakout rooms, so you can move between the rooms. So basically, you will see on your little square on a breakout room, you can choose to go or to the room when we'll talk about the metaphor, because metaphor was something important that we're talking about, how to construct the story, which uses the healing power of metaphor and what is magic of that. Another room would be about the storytelling. I mean, how to translate this relation to plant in a story, how to make the story moving, you and the environment. Then also another room will be about anthropomorphism, which is very important term for us because we see lots of cartoons or places where they would pretend that plants are humans and they would give emotions and feelings of humans to plants, which in fact is blocking us from seeing them how they are, as Monica was describing them. So this will be a room about anthropomorphism and how to avoid it or how we did it in our educational tools. Another room will be about impact of connection with plants. And this room will talk how this really matters, what impact connection to the plants. Basically, here we focus on indoor plants. Here will be maybe a little bit of horticulture mentioned as well, as this is a healing by plants. It's already a long thing to talk, and or our experience with zines. And the last one, it's one-to-one plant care meeting with Monica. So if any one of you has a very special question and you want to ask Monica, she will be there in that room. Go to her, ask questions, talk to her. So we'll have 2 rounds and you can choose the rooms the way you want. Beth, how are we going with the rooms?